In a rapidly shifting society, now more than ever, it is essential to stay grounded. Balance is key, but harmony is better. Here, we provide the keys to tap into the divine masculine without sacrificing the divine feminine, because confusion not transmuted becomes confusion transferred.
This is Divine Masculine Activated, a weekly Tuesday evening tap-in brought to you by Mastermind Connect and curated by the good brothers J.D. Weatherspoon and Courtney Grange. We invite you to grab your activation method of choice, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and bring your whole self into this space.
Right? The whole ass time.
Every time, bro. Every time.
Hey, man.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
Man.
Today is a good day. It is Tuesday.
Yes.
I already had my tacos.
Dang, you got the jump start on it, ain't it?
I need it. I'm trying to do this thing where I eat before 6. So
had to really fast to hear that. See, I can't with y'all grown folks. See, that's like a 35 and up decision, fool.
It is time. Yes.
Okay. I respect it.
But as always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to another episode of Divine Masculine Activated. I am Courtney Grange. He is
J. Digger Weatherspoon.
Diggity dig.
That part.
And we are back. We are finished the Am I My Sister's Keeper series, bro. Like, we did that.
I mean, listen, man, but that's what we do. And that's like, now I'm already like, how do we gear this up? Like, how do we outdo that for the next stretch? Because I feel like we've tripped into something awesome.
Yes,
so
indeed.
now it's like, it's like the mental notes have been going off, but that's another time for another day. Where we at today, though?
Well, as always, let's walk these initial dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for coming in here. As we always like to say at this time, please like, share, subscribe to this podcast channel, this web series channel, Mastermind Connect. If you like what you see, if you like what we talk about, please help us get these messages out to a broader audience, because we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to activate their divine masculinity without sacrificing their divine femininity. See, I wrote the definition right into that thing there. We're getting better at this.
Yeah, we over here trying to give us free. You did.
That's it. We gonna do this like we've been doing this. And so, like, good brother, why is it that we do this?
Why does we do this? Wow. So, our nurturing is a good place to start, right? Mm-hmm. It is. We were taught in many cases, speaking for myself, that anything feminine is typically reserved for women, because your masculinity and your femininity pretty much are dictated between two things, and those two things are your legs. So masculinity, on the other hand, was about being hard, forceful, choosing logic over empathy. So we created, me and this guy right here, DMA, to unpack what we have been taught about masculinity and reshape how we think about femininity. Why should you care?
You should care specifically because we told you to. It's like, nah. But also because we told you to. Today you should care because we're going to be talking about how divine masculinity and divine femininity shape themselves into what is leading you. And so when you think about leadership, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, right? Is it something that's masculine or something that's feminine? Or is it both? For some, it's knowing the way to walk in life. And for others, it's showing the way. But for a select few, making a way when there was originally no way there is what we consider to be leadership. And so last season, we tapped in with Chief Sekou Alajay of 256 Healing Arts.
Bye me.
Hey, what's going on? To have a conversation about, like, what was most powerfully present for him in terms of his North Star and the things that were leading him.
Facts.
And so check that replay out on Mastermind Connect's YouTube channel. You will see it. Just tap in Mastermind Connect, what's leading you. It'll pop right up. This season, we wanted to push the conversation further, because that's what we've been doing all season, is tapping in and pushing things a little bit further than we did last season. So this season, this episode, we have my good brother, the abundance coach himself, Elton Anderson, here to come tap in and talk to us about this topic.
aka Detroit Chopra.
Detroit Chopra. Listen, I'm sorry. It's the best podcast name of all time. Like, you can't beat Detroit Chopra. So, good brother Elton, we gonna bring you into the fold. What's going on, man?
What's good, brothers?
How you feeling? How you feeling?
Man, I feel amazing. I feel super blessed to be here on this show with you guys. What you're doing is so beyond helpful and beyond needed for so many people like myself. You know, when I was going through my awakening, I was just out here alone. Like, anybody know what's going on? Anybody know what's happening? And to see you guys just being yourselves and just authentically is such a help for so many people, and it helps me to be more authentic myself as well, bro. So all the love, man.
Awesome. And like let these people know how much you are about this. Like, you 10 toes with this lifestyle. Like, where are you tapping in from right now?
Man, I mean, so this is, I can literally go all the way there. Like, there's no limit to where we can go in terms of where of the different levels of consciousness, the different levels of awakening, the different practices, the spiritual journey. Like, I'm there. Right. But what I will say is that I want to be more of a bridge, like your neighborhood guide to a spiritual awakening. Because as we shift into this new level of consciousness from the 3D to the 4D to the 5D, it can be a jolt to just be like, okay, I'm gonna jump all in. And people aren't ready for that. I know I wasn't. I know I'm still exploring different concepts in my own mind and my own journey. So what I like to do is I like to think of myself. That's why the name Detroit Chopra is actually perfect. Like, my homeboy called me that one day, and I was like, that's so perfect, because I'm just a regular nigga from Detroit who had a spiritual awakening. And that's relatable.
Every nigga is a star. I'm just saying.
So what?
Every nigga is a star.
Every nigga is a star. And so I would, when I think of the name Detroit Chopra, I always think of that as I'm building my community. Because when I look at Shade Room, for instance, the Shade Room does the thing that's so perfect. When you look on a post, you go to the comments.
That's right.
And you're in the comments, like, I don't even look at the post half the time. I'm in the comments for days, like, what people talking about, and it builds the community in the comments. And so I want to do that for spiritual journey and spiritual awakening and manifestation. I want people to go into my comments like, oh, I was manifesting this the other day, girl, me too. So the more that happens and the more people can relate with each other, that's when we get to that oneness. And that's what I'm going for.
I can dig it. Before we go too far, let's let everybody know who we actually have here today, in case you have not heard. The Elton Anderson Jr., aka Detroit Chopra. Elton Anderson is an abundance coach, creative influencer, podcaster, photographer, and all-around dope human being. His journey to abundance started in 2017 when he left behind a six-figure salary to pursue his passion as a photographer. Elton was programmed to think that trading time for money was the key to success, and he thought by pushing his passion, he was breaking the program. It wasn't until 2013 that he realized he was still stuck in the same trap of trading time for money, just this time as a successful celebrity photographer. This is the point where he made a complete mindset shift. And so I wanted to start there, just because, like, Elton, I've known you since undergrad at FAM, right?
Yeah.
So
Bro, I'm sick of y'all rattlers, though. Like, this rattler flex that you pull.
Don't be sick, bro. Don't be sick no more. It's gonna be okay.
I'm just saying, it's fine. I've been going to the Florida Classic literally since I was like 4. So
it's like Bruce Lee shadow punch. Like, I don't even have to hit; it just hits all by itself sometimes. But so I've seen several variations and versions and maturations of Elton, right? And so I wanted to start in that realm where, like, you graduated FAMU, you went into the working world. Like, what was that first shift that allowed you to jump off that very, safe, secure blanket into the realm of, like, being a photographer, chasing your dreams, and then that led to the stuff we'll get into in a second. But like, how did that first shift happen?
I like to. That's a good question, bro. I like to think of my life as like a playlist on shuffle. Like you just don't know what you're about to get next. I'm just like,
Really?
I feel that.
And so I remember wanting, after graduating college, because we have this thing called School of Business and Industry, SBI, JD, you may not know. And so you're literally put into a program. You have to wear only 1 or 2 color suits. You can't have a beard. You have to fall in line. You have to they train us to be like corporate robots.
Yeah, Wolves of Wall Street. It's very interesting to see what that does. But to be fair, you do kill it in corporate. You just might, have
destroy it in corporate.
The other side.
Yeah, but then what I realized is that the deeper I got into the program, I had to listen to one thing that was more powerful than that program, and that was my intuition. And we lose the power of our intuition so much because a good friend of mine I had on the podcast the other day said something that blew my mind. They said language was created to disguise our feelings. Like it was created to take away what we know. Everybody has intuition that's so strong. Babies, are you kidding me? A baby sees somebody that got negative energy, they crying. A dog sees somebody with negative energy, they like, I'm barking at you. And so we've been trained and programmed to not trust our intuition. And so that's all I've been doing is breaking that program slowly but surely. And so I got that dream job at Pfizer. All I wanted to do was work at Pfizer. Pharmaceutical sales, company card, company credit card. Bought my first house at 24 before the age of 25. All those things. And I remember one day it was a Tuesday and I worked in Delray Beach, Florida. And I saw these guys on a Tuesday in a red Jeep Wrangler and they were going surfing. And I was like, wait a minute.
It's Tuesday.
I want to surf on a Tuesday in a red Jeep Wrangler. Like
that's how we live out here, man.
Yeah.
That's Delray shit.
Yeah, Delray shit. Yes. And so seeing that just cracked, it was the first crack in the many cracks. Because I had been programmed to see this one way of life. And I was like, oh, there's other ways to live life. And so that's when, as soon as I get a little crack, once I get a little crack,
coming through,
it's a wrap.
Whole thing opening up.
Like, with me, I think like if you pull a little string on your shirt, I'll just keep pulling into that shirt. It's just, and so that's what happened. I ended up winning a camera at my job. And I started taking pictures and never been a photographer, never even thought of being a photographer. And a year later, I'm living on South Beach, riding a skateboard and being a full-time photographer. So that's a short story.
Yeah.
See what happens when you just hang out in Delray, your life change.
That's what everybody go to Delray.
Do not come to Delray.
Don't come here.
We closed.
Now we closed. But yeah, I mean, if you want me to go more, but I mean, that's basically the short story. There's a longer path, but I do like to say, when I look back, I thought about it. When I look back, I was actually very insane because this is 2007, 2008.
Right before the crash. Yep.
But also there was no Instagram.
No.
Facebook was kind of like whatever. So I didn't see any versions. You get on Instagram today, you see a million people that's photographers traveling the world, living their life.
Yeah.
I didn't see anybody, let alone a black dude. It was impossible to see.
And that's an interesting point there because I remember when I came down to Miami and it had to be like 2009, 2010. And so we crashed with you in Miami in like the spot, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, who are these people? Right? Like, because I know, a lot of the different people that were in the cipher at that time. And it was just like, but all y'all were working the same jobs I was working like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
All y'all skateboarding on the beach, taking pictures and doing this. And it was for me, it was like the first piece of like creative liberation I can remember seeing amongst people I actually knew, right? You see forms of liberation in different aspects from like TV or media, whatever. But these were people that I knew, and it was like, oh, this is possible.
Yes.
So like that, like you said, that first crack, I could see how much it opened up for so many different folks, including yourself, but then led to like further expansions and further differentiations. And in your case, like a whole lot of awakenings, right? So like the places that you've been able to go and see and experience, you've been to over 80 some countries.
Yeah, man. I've been to over 80 countries, and it's crazy. So interesting because I know you mentioned like I'm like one of the most interesting people you know, but as I'm going through it, I swear I don't realize it. Like I'm just in it. And I'm like, I have done some interesting shit, like not even on like
no cap.
Well, that's it, no cap. It's just what it is.
Yeah, but it's like I don't even think about it because I am constantly generated by the fear of doing everything that I do. So I didn't get my passport or my first camera or quit my job until the age of 26. And I'm out here in Bali, and it's dudes that's like 19 and 20. I'm like, out here trading crypto and living a life. I'm like, what? And so even what I was doing at that age, back in mid 2000s, late 2000s, it was all fear. But for me, my whole point in life is to jump and develop my wings as I fall. So no matter what I do, whether it's photography or hosting television shows or being in commercials, which is like insane to me, to going on this spiritual awakening, it's just like the intuition is literally a muscle. And the stronger and the more you follow it, the more you use your intuition, the stronger it gets. And that's just what I've been like leaning on my life.
It's funny that you mentioned that, following that thread. But before we get too deep down this rabbit hole, shouting out everybody who decided to make some time in their evenings to come and see us. So, you know, you know what I'm saying? We got Sequoia out here. Senor Briscoe,
Dominican Denise already starting stuff.
Oh, you know how I go. But also, like, I like what Candace said, which definitely supports, you know, the thread that you were on, which is we often lose that intuition as kids, and then we have to learn to listen again as an adult. And it reminded me of this one phrase that I will never forget, and that's that, like, so many of us spend the rest of our lives trying to get back to the place we were in when we were 12.
Yeah. When you believe you can do anything, when you believe you can be anything, when you can create your life, and we have that's a vibration, man. That childlike vibration is such an amazing place to be. And that's why I continue to take myself there and figure out, like, you can always go back. Like, if you're working a job, you can always go back. And, you know, Fight Club, we've all seen Fight Club, I'm sure. And they say the things you own begin to own you. And so that's how I transitioned to becoming more of a minimalist, because being from Detroit, Cartier glasses, Gucci loafers,
just because
Pink Gators, all Detroit players. Come on
now. That's what I grew up in. That was another program. Yeah. It was programmed me to believe that I needed all these material things. I wear Birkenstocks, y'all. I like the old me would never wear a Birkenstock. Ever. Like, what are you talking about? So it's just the unlearning of all these different things and the emptying of your cup. Because, you know, a lot of people talk about, oh, I keep my cup full, or keep your cup full. But so many times it's filled with this program, and you have to empty this cup. You have to empty your cup to allow for your own authentic fluids or whatever that may be to be put into it, because we're so programmed, we don't even realize we're programmed. And programming is, I'm not trying to speak it in terms of like, oh, y'all just stuck to the matrix. Like, it's not that. It's not given that. It's not given that.
But also a little bit that.
It also is a little bit that. But when I say program, I started thinking of like us in terms of computers in a sense, because we use those terms a lot. Like we use the term program, and that's in a computer. We use the term processing when we're processing our emotions and we're processing different ideas. That's computer processor. Absolutely. You download different ideas, you download different things, and that's when your channel is more clear, when you're able to download ideas from the collective consciousness. Yeah. Because man, I don't want to go too deep, but like,
that's it. Talk about these upgrades. I mean, this is what
but that's it. Like,
yeah,
I often get into that same space when working with clients, talking about downloads and system updates. Right? But thinking of the process from a computer perspective. So, like, when your phone is downloading the update, you can still do what you normally do. Right? It's not until you actually click that button to update the actual system update that most of the time your stuff has to shut down. Yeah, and you have to wait for that full new system to incorporate. And depending upon the severity of that upgrade, you might be looking at a whole new device once you open it up. And think about that in terms of yourself. Like if you go through the right type of update or the right type of download at the right moment in your life, you might come back the next morning and be like, who in the hell am I looking at?
That is exactly what I went through. That's exactly what I went through. And we can, I guess we can fast forward a little bit through it. And then we come back to the career, but I mean, the career in photography was actually so amazing. It forced me to really start getting into the manifestation process without even knowing. And what year was that? Like 2012, 2013 or something like that, when The Secret came out. You remember when The Secret came out?
Yep.
And everybody was like,
2010, 2011.
Yep. Yeah, one of those years. And everybody was like, oh, that's when everybody started doing vision board parties. That's when everybody started talking about
wave of wokeness. Yes.
First wave of wokeness. And the funny part was, I was like, this shit is weird. I was like, is y'all Scientologists? Because The Secret never attracted me. Like, I would look at The Secret. To this day, I have never watched The Secret. Never read the book. I was like, who is these white people talking about think and your things will come? I'm like, nigga, I'm out here grinding. I'm out here hustling, like thinking, and never meditated, never did any of those things, but I was still making things happen in my life because I believed in myself. And so even in my photography career, I never had an agent. I never had a manager. People were telling me you need a manager. I never assisted anybody. I was always like, I can do this. So I think there is something to that belief that they talk about in The Secret, but in terms of I was just living it as I look back. I was just continuously believing that if I move to LA and say that I want to be a celebrity photographer, then I will be a celebrity photographer.
It'll happen.
And then I'm shooting everybody from Diddy to Kendrick Lamar to Kelly Rowland to Issa Rae and Tiffany Haddish in my crib. And I'm not saying those things to flex, but I'm like, this is all, looking back, everything is a vibration, because even when I work with celebrities, right, I have to get on their vibration. I have to look Sanaa Lathan in her eyes and make her feel comfortable. No, it's serious, bro.
I know. What did you make her feel?
Yes. So I have to look Regina Hall in her eyes, and I'm like, I can't be nervous. I can't be, you know what I'm saying? I can't be,
don't be scared.
I can't be kicking up. I have to literally put myself in this vibration. And these are lessons. I'm looking back. This is me learning this now, looking back, but I have to be in the vibration of this celebrity. And you can even sometimes see in their eyes, you can see people's insecurities. Like I've seen low-key, I felt people's whole ass celebrities' insecurities. I'm like, wait, you insecure, bitch, you're on TV.
But that kind of goes to what Cynthia brought up here, where she said, as a child, I watched my family who were programmed. At an early age, I decided not to be like them. They had everything but true happiness.
That's a word, Cynthia.
That's it right there, right? You can have it all, but you still can't have true happiness without certain aspects of surrender, right? And so it's funny, JD, you would ask me a question this week around like when did I first actually know that I mattered, right? So you remember that?
Yeah. Funny enough, I think that if you're in the group, see, you're already hip. See, the group get the exclusives. But legitimately, Elton, when was the first time that you realized that you mattered? Like your presence alone carries weight.
Yo, on some real deal stuff, it was low key like 2 weeks ago.
Because we're not okay. So keep going.
It was May 10th. It was May 10th.
It sounds like a Drake song.
Yeah.
May 10th and Bobby.
May 10th and Bobby. Talk about it.
And so if we're gonna go really deep, really deep. It was a lesson in like my self-worth and my own self-worth. So growing up, you know, I've always known I was gay. I've always had this consciousness that I was gay from the age of 5, having crushes on niggas in kindergarten. And I'm like, why do I crush on the guy? And you know, having to deal with that and dealing with the weight of you're going to hell and you're going to die of AIDS. I had to deal with that at the age of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then, so you can't love that part of yourself. And there's a disassociation between who you really are, because it's not something that I was picked up. I wasn't molested, or even to say that that is a trigger for people, but it just wasn't, it was just me. Yeah. I was always identified as homosexual. I just knew it in my mind. And then I had the outside things. I went through the ugly duckling phase and bad skin and bad teeth. So there was this moment where I actually could not love myself. There was nothing for me to love. I couldn't love the inside because that was going to hell, and I couldn't love the outside because that wasn't accepted by society. So around the age of 12, I had this disassociation where I was just going to create this Elton. I was creating this Elton that could survive in the world, that could play straight, that could be ambitious, that could be successful, that outperforms everybody. That's why in high school, in like middle school, I won national academic games. I was like, I'm gonna be the smartest, class brains. In high school, I was like, I'm gonna be the fastest nigga in Detroit. So I literally was state champion in track and field. I was like, nobody's gonna outperform me. Full ride to FAMU. And so a lot of times, especially men, we get into this mode of trading our healing process of traumas for ambition and accolades and titles. And we continue to do that. And that's what I was doing. So I was here shooting all these celebrities. I had a travel show. Like I was hosting, I've been to all these countries, all these accolades, and that was my identity. It was what I did. It was what I had, but it wasn't who I was.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry. That needs to breathe. That needs to breathe. That bears repeating.
So I attached my identity to what I did and what I had, but it wasn't who I truly was. It wasn't who I was being. And the awareness that comes with that, because that's a journey of self-awareness. I just did a post talking about people think self-love, the first step is self-care. It's not self-care. It's not putting on a clay mask. It's not getting a massage. It's not sipping wine and putting it on Instagram in your bathtub. That's not self-love. That's performative. That's a show. The real self-love is getting to your shadow and understanding the things that you don't want to show anybody, the things that you have disconnected to so much within yourself, you don't even realize they exist, but everybody else sees them because you project it out. That's why people project all this trauma and become narcissists and put all these things on their children and all these beliefs on their family, and they keep these generational curses going. They're like, come on, give me all the curses. I'm gonna keep them going. And it's up to a lot of us that are awakening right now to literally be the last generation that is going to cause that curse.
Residual trauma.
Courtney, as a father, and you take fatherhood so seriously, I get goosebumps thinking of you as a father, bro. Because I'm like, Courtney, don't play about that role
at all.
It's not for playing
at all.
And that is so powerful to see. Just to see you as a father is so powerful for so many people, because that's another vibration, bro.
It is.
The vibration you step into with a father is
Listen,
like,
I tell people all the time, like, my son is my master teacher. And his mother first said it to me a while back, and I was kind of like, I guess, but I started to see it the more I surrendered to all of the abundance that comes, because in this space, with this little human, if I can be patient, right? If I can never have to raise my voice, if I can know the right words with a 5-year-old, I damn sure can do it with adults, right? Yeah. Like, coming from a sales background, it was always this mindset of make it so easy a 7-year-old can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on that journey every single day to make it that simple for myself and for everyone else. But to your point around like the self-awareness piece, I think for me, that's where I started to notice a difference in what abundance I attracted. And so similar to like the whole cup having to be empty first, once you truly empty that cup, the first thing that comes in there, it hit different than everything else that was already in there. And so, you know, to have the accolades, the money, the career, all these different things is good. But once you remove that and build it back, because you're still worthy of those things, you just got to do it the right way for yourself. But that
because
first
you know
thing,
better. That's one.
You know better
because you know you're accountable. Because when you're moving like at this 3D shit, like it's almost like you get a pass. Like they old heads always say, like God look after babies and fools.
And I ain't no fool and I ain't no baby.
You understood? So it's like once you awaken, now everything is inches. Like all of that incremental growth and development is at the behest of your intentions. And so, and that's what I loved the most about, for taking it back to the Detroit Chopra podcast, episode 12, the math of manifestation, right?
I like that episode. I got to do some more solo joints.
Yeah, well, it's like, because it
people
all
like that one.
The idea of like adding via subtraction. So it's like, like go from doing the most, but it was like actually doing the most is what's making it harder to keep my cup full with what I need in my cup.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So like, what point did you realize that?
And like I said, when I say May 10th was a big day, me and my homie O'Neal, we have this talks. We talk every day, like 3 hours. And I was like, I woke up that day, I was like, bro, I feel like this is season 2 in my life. I feel like, because this is a show. This whole thing is a show. It's a game. And I'm gonna hit y'all with my theory on life in a second. Mm-hmm. It goes to the game Mario Brothers, so we'll get there in a second. But no, basically it was the idea that everything that we hear and resonates with us, we know it on some level.
Yes.
It's like everything is yourself. Everything is yourself. And so if you hear something, you can, like, all this information has been circulating in the ether forever. All this information that we're talking about, that we know, that we hear, it's been around forever. But then you have to get to a place. If you heard this at 19, you'd be like, nigga, what do you think? Is this weird? You heard this even at 29, you're like, nigga, what
are you talking about? Yep.
You think he woke? Like, what is woke? Like, woke has such a bad connotation. Even consciousness has a bad connotation. It's the meme with Dr. Umar with the kufi on and the red eyes. Like,
is you woke?
Yeah. So it's memeified. It's made a joke.
That's right.
And the thing is, you realize that you're not awakening for the world. You're awakening to yourself. You're just waking up. And so that's when you say the things in your cup hit different, because the same thing that has been said, but it hits different because your eyes, your third eye, your fourth eye, your fifth eye is so much more clearer. All it is clarity. All it is you got on these dirty mud colored glasses and everything. You're just like, put a little Windex on it, like, okay, I'm seeing clear. And all you're doing is seeing clearer things that you already know.
That's right.
And so that's what happened with me. I just started literally see clearer.
Yeah. So we, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we was having a conversation before we started this about the movie The Matrix, right? Yeah. And everybody that's seen it, that gets into it, has different perceptions and different ideas and what's going on. But Elton, what you said there is something that I learned a while back with my own journey within the Matrix, was that there's no awakening to the real world. There's just awakening to your real self. So it's the same world, right? It's just some people that choose to awaken or be woke, like see themselves for the first time and then operate differently towards everything else. Where some people see it and they retreat back in because of fear, and they close the world tighter around themselves to keep them even more encapsulated. But this is it, y'all. Like, this is the life that you get in this stream, whether you believe in reincarnation or not. Like, you come back, okay, what have you, but this is this life, and it's all you're gonna get.
And Courtney, like, that's it. Like, we hold on to these identities so much. Yeah. We want to be part of these groups, whether it's your fraternity, whether it's your social status, whether, oh, I'm the CEO of such and such, oh, I'm a PhD, JD, LD. Fine. No, like, that's beautiful. But I sat there when the camera came on in April of 2019, and literally the camera came on for the first episode of the travel show, and I said, I do not know who I am. And I said, shit. It was like I had a live on air spiritual crack. And I told the universe, I said, I want to be authentic because this don't feel right. I don't know who I'm in front of these people's television just playing a character. This isn't Elton. And so that is the day, that is the moment that the crack started cracking. And that was when my spiritual awakening started. And it was a hell of a ride since then. And so when we talk about the Matrix, I want to give you guys my theory on life through a game we've all played, Super Mario Brothers.
I mean, this is what we're here for.
So actually, I just got 5 tattoos. I got
5.
This Mario mushroom.
Oh snap!
You and these mushrooms. More on that later.
And then I got a Game Boy.
Is that a Game Boy?
Yeah. So those are two of the and I got Papa Smurf giving the finger because I'm just out here. But anyway, but I want to explain these really quick for your guests, for your audience. And I was, I've been exploring plant-based medicine along with my journey, and it's been so amazing for. It's kind of like a cheat code to consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only been awakening for like a little bit over a year, so I wanted to have some extra step ups. And so I was thinking about Mario Brothers because everybody loves that game, and Mario Brothers is actually an analogy for life and the Matrix. So think about it. Mario started off working a 9-to-5 with his brother. They had their little plumbing business. They just like, I'm gonna go and plumb. Like, I'm good. I'm chilling. We got our little overalls. We kicking it. 9-to-5. Yeah. Everybody's working 9-to-5. Then they got this call. They got this purpose put on them to go save the princess. And they're like, who is this princess? Like, I don't even know this bitch. But they had to go and save her. It was just this call on their heart. And so they were like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do it. And along the way, Mario had to go through pipes and through tunnels. And you think about it as a plumber, that is your 9-to-5 being a part of you going on your purpose. So he's like, oh, I know my way through pipes. Like, this is I can go through a sewer. And so you start thinking about that perspective. And along the way, he needs like raises in consciousness, and he needs power. So how does he get it? He takes shrooms. He literally eats mushrooms. He takes these mushrooms and he becomes Super Mario, a more conscious version of yourself. So as we're going through this, plant-based things like ayahuasca and mushrooms and DMT are helping you to become the super version of yourself. And now this whole time he isn't working. He doesn't have a job. And he's like, well, I need something to survive. And he's collecting coins. Like, he's like out here collecting these coins. And that's what investing is crypto. It's crypto coins. It's buying stocks. It's investing in real estate. You're getting things to where you don't have to work your 9-to-5, but you're establishing an abundance mindset along the way so that you can do things, operate from your heart and not have to worry about going back to a 9-to-5. And then ultimately, the goal isn't to collect all the coins. The goal is always to save your princess. So you really have to focus on saving your princess, whatever that is, and everything will fall into place for you. And just take shrooms, kids. I'm kidding. But yeah, that's my theory on life in the Matrix and why I really believe that this is a game that we can all win.
Absolutely. So we might as well just keep that one going because I like this direction. It's the awareness of things, right? Because that's really what these tools are. That's what the plant medicines are. They're tools, right? And so what is one detail for you? I know, like, back to your series, we really be watching this, or rather tuning into it because it's on Spotify.
Okay.
So referencing episode 16 with Synchronicity.
Yes.
At what point, like, the repetition of these numbers and like you putting together and connecting those dots of like universal transmissions come into play?
Mm-hmm. Yo, so the synchronicity thing is so much bigger than repeating numbers. I wanted to make that, I think that's a good lead in because I watched this guy, his name is Mark Houghton, and I bring him up in the episode. Mm-hmm. And Mark gave a very beautiful description of what synchronicities are in terms of numbers. Pretty much the universe is bringing you what you want. It's Amazon Prime. And pretty much these numbers are literally just, because numerology is real. Like, all this stuff is real. Come on, y'all. Like, let's not
all data set.
Woo-woo. Like, this is all real. And he made the comparison that the numerology is your tracking numbers. So if you see 444, look up what 444 means, and then do some exploration to what do you really want on an authentic and spiritual level, or what you want to manifest. And if you see 444, then it's telling you that this is on the way, and 555 and things like that. But then Joe Dispenza, he goes even deeper. He goes so deep into what synchronicities are on a more quantum level. And so what happens then is that the universe will create scenarios, we call them coincidences, synchronicities, that are so mind-blowing that you're like, okay, I have to start paying attention. And so that's how you know your vibration is raising. It goes beyond 1111. Like 1111 is good.
That's like work.
But that's like work.
Yeah.
When you start manifesting people that give you messages that you know you needed to hear.
Yeah.
When you start manifesting everything in seconds, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna start listening. And I gave the example of, and I'm gonna breeze through this story really quickly, but my birthday is March 5th. I was in the middle of my spiritual awakening. I was in India by myself and crying and going through the dark night of the soul. And in Goa, India, randomly. Why did I go to Goa? Some girl told me that Goa was dope, so I went to Goa.
It's a cool little beach town. It's a cool little beach. You like beach towns, clearly. It's literally India's Delaware Beach.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Goa, India by myself. Like, who the fuck does that? And so I'm on the beach crying and meditating. And this is my 38th birthday last year. And after 4 hours of crying, I'm like, okay, I need to get me something to drink. So I walk into this smoothie shop. All the seats are taken. This is right before the pandemic. It was really pandemicking. And there was one seat left, and I sit next to this guy. This white dude from New York. He starts telling me all about his journey. He's traveling alone. He's been traveling since September. We had all of these commonalities. And I'm like, yo, I've been traveling since September too. And I woke up today and wanted a smoothie. Y'all. And he was like, what about you? I was like, bro, I'm just chilling. Today's my birthday. So I came in, same fucking birthday. March 5th. This man was born on March 5th. It's on March 5th in this smoothie shop, and the only seat next to him was this man. After that, you are never going to argue with me about the universe and synchronicity. You're never going to talk to me about anything.
But that goes back to the sort of how surrender attracts abundance, and how it is really different than all of the abundances or success or whatever that we thought was coming. And it literally is those pieces of synchronicity that makes you know the difference. So like the first time you have one of those type of experiences at your low point, it almost becomes somewhat of a drug. Like you want more of it. So you do more surrender, right? And this is owed to shadow work that comes up a couple of times, within your podcast and different things that we've talked about. Like shadow work is not about getting rid of a part of yourself. It's about embracing a part of yourself.
The integration.
Listen, we attract that which we most reflect. So if I embrace shadow, I'm going to receive light from the universe. That's how the formula works. And so
run that back. See, we gotta
right.
We attract that which we most reflect, not what we are, but what we're reflecting. So if I embrace my shadow work, my shadow self, I'm going to attract the light that is the reflection of the shadow. Just like the opposite of dark is light, opposite of off is on, opposite of death is life. That's how this thing works. And so the more that you use the same tendencies that you used in terms of your more masked life, right? So like a vice or somebody who has an addictive personality. See what happens when you get addicted to surrender and abundance and self-awareness. You get the same level of things in return as you would over here. They're just no longer toxic to your environment and your system. Everything starts to build upon it, and it comes in waves and more and more. And like, I remember having conversations with you, you know what I'm saying, way back in the day, and then watching your journey, you watching my journey. But then randomly, like, I don't even know why Elton would just one day slid in my DM and was like, yo, we should talk. And I'm like, yes, we should talk.
We are meant to talk.
Man, I'm sitting on top. I'm sitting on top of my son's playground in the backyard, talking to this man in Bali, and we're having the same conversation we're having with y'all today. And it's like, we're going to do this again. There's some reason why we got to this point at the same time, and now we're here, right?
And that's when you dropped that water slide analogy, and I was like, Courtney won. I like, Courtney got it. Courtney, like that was the one. But Courtney, everything you're saying is magic. Like everything you're saying is, and I've been tracking a lot of Aries. Like JD, what's your sign?
I'm a Leo, boo.
Oh, okay. All right. All these fire.
Yeah, the other type of fire.
And I was like, I'm a water bender. Come on. But come on, I always say like Aries are magic. Like y'all are like the magical sign. Y'all the first sign, and y'all be tapped in a different way. But I want to also go into even deeper than attracting and manifesting these things through surrender. So there's one more layer that I'm stepping into. My mama's a Leo, so I do think Leos are great. Everybody needs a Leo mama because they don't play about their kids. But
I also have a Leo mama, so do the math on that.
Yes. Oh. Yo, JD, it's a lot. But the thing I want to go to next is the sentiment that really blew my mind is that someone is manifesting you.
Say it again.
Someone is manifesting you. So let me break this down because that's another level that blew my mind. And the more I look into it, so we have this collective consciousness. If you look at the matrix, if you look at it like a net, and everybody is a node on the net, like the whole world is a net. We're all connected. We're all one. And JD, you talked about this, I think, before the show as we were preparing. It's all about that oneness. This is what this whole game is about. When you release the separation and you release these identities, you realize the more you go into yourself, you are part of one. And so when you think about someone as manifesting you, there's this collective consciousness that we all share. And we all want and need different things. We all want entertainment, we want love, we want money, we want health, we want all these different things. And this connected consciousness is like the internet on a trillion.
Yes, indeed.
It's the basis of the internet.
It's exactly.
We just don't realize that's what all of this is mimicry. Like, so who said that above, Shanae? As above, so below. All of this technology is our attempt to recreate what spirit has been trying to show us.
What's already happening. So what y'all we don't even need to talk. Like, it's so funny. We don't even need to talk because we're all on
point. Yeah.
I'm just talk just because whatever. But when you start thinking about the idea that someone is manifesting you, then that's when you start clearing the channel, because we're all channels. Everybody is a channel.
Oh, man. Come on.
Everybody has a frequency. I was just telling my boy Justin on his show, I was like, it's 93.3 Courtney FM. It's 98.6 JD AM. Like, it's everybody is a.
We are radios.
We are all radios. And so when you think about it, in a sense, that since we're all radio, since we're all sending and receiving these frequencies, when you get called to start a show talking about the divine masculine, that didn't come from you. People have manifested you to say these words.
Yo, I'm laughing because we told the story like we didn't want to do this. We didn't start this like
Plymouth Rock landed on us. That's what impressive.
Plymouth Rock literally landed on you. You did not want this. I did not want to host a travel show. The universe was like, no, you're going to host a travel show, Elton, because I need you to be comfortable in front of a camera. Mm-hmm. You've been working behind the camera all these years. I didn't audition. I have friends in Hollywood. I lived in LA. People would kill to host travel shows. My closest friends fell out with them because they were like, you wanted to really be on television. No, I did not want it. The universe wanted it for me. I'm being manifested to have these words, to go through these awakenings. You guys are manifested to have these awakenings, to be a father, to start this platform. And that is the real manifestation. That's when you go back to the oneness, and that's what you guys understand so perfectly, is that when you decide to answer the call, because the universe is going to keep knocking on your door.
Until you it's so gracious. It's so gracious. It never stops.
Yeah. And when you decide to answer the call and be your authentic self, because they're calling us to be authentic.
Yeah.
Like, I felt so weird.
That's it.
Doing this. I had to hide behind Detroit Chopra. I'm like, well, let me just give them this alter ego and be like, okay, this is Detroit Chopra. But everybody does that. Everybody uses that. All the celebrities use that. Jay-Z uses an alter ego. Sean Carter uses Jay-Z to deliver the message that he's been manifested to do. Beyonce created Sasha Fierce. Tyler Perry created Medea. Tyler Perry literally was like, okay, I have to channel this Medea. And clearly, everybody don't love him, but the people that do have made him a billionaire because he answered the call of comedy.
Yeah. But you also
comedy. So
you also see how nurturing your greatest gift, your greatest self, immediately puts you in a position to nurture others if you're doing it from that space of like true surrender to what the universe is calling you to do, right? So, you know, I've known about Tyler Perry from way back in the days when my uncle and aunt used to put on plays in the church, but use comedy to try to draw people in. And so they was rocking with Tyler back in the day, and it was like, well, nah, we're not going to do that. But I was like, well, who is that? And so I remember the plays, and a lot of people forget that time frame because Medea and the movies and TV shows have gotten so big. But Tyler Perry started off doing plays, and that's what really grabbed people, the actual human element of the theater and how these things played out. Medea was a character in theater. She wasn't ever meant for film. But it brought to film to now be in a position.
The bootleg hustle was just what amplified it.
That's it.
That was look, he was trapping the bootlegs, man. We had like all 50-11 of them joints.
Listen, getting it out of the mud. But now we have the first Black-owned studio ever, where you can get Coming to America 2 and Bad Boys 3 on the same set, and not near another white man is getting that dollar, right? So he created an abundance in his form and fashion for his people because that was a part of his mission. He talks about that constantly in any area where you see Tyler Perry really speak about what he believes. He's like, I'm trying to get this for my people. You can care about how I do it if you want to care about it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give back way more than I got, and you're going to know it. And that's for me what the big mission of all this is, right? Like, JD and I JD is probably one of the people that I'm closest to
that I've known for the shortest amount of time. Mm-hmm. But it's to the point, it was like, when we knew it. And it was like, yeah, bro, we not only on the same journey, we understand that all of our journeys are the same, to be our divine selves. And accepting that responsibility is like, it's going to keep putting us in the positions to win, to learn, to love, and to be happy as fuck. Because that's my.
And the platform's going to keep growing.
And it's going to, I think it's that stretch part, because that's, I know for me, like with a lot of my breakthroughs, like it's those things that like, on one hand, it's like, damn, they really don't tell you how much self it is going to cost. Like, oh, this new life, you're going to have to pay with that old one.
Boy,
run that back. Since you running things back, run that back.
New life, you're gonna have to pay with that old one. And these invoices, you get that's brass tacks. Because every choice got an invoice. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you decide to embrace who you are, because that's what's at the core of all of these decisions, right? Like we start off thinking we need to do so we can have, and then once we have, we'll be able to be insert blank here. When in all reality, it's like, nah, you start with being. We're human beings, not humans doing, right? You start with the being, and as a result of who you're deciding to be, you do accordingly, and as a result of said actions, you attract, and then you have, which begets more. Right? But that being said, when you decide to be, you immediately, like unintentionally, usually say what you are not. And so it's going to drive a lot of stuff away.
Yeah.
Focused on, if your eye is off the ball, you really going to feel like you're losing everything.
Yeah.
There.
Jay, we done and show over?
Is we done?
Because what else are supposed to say after that? What else is supposed to say? But like, that is my new, that is, bro, y'all are just hitting it. Like, I'm gonna be on the show again. I don't care. Whatever y'all need, but that is the thing. And I think Courtney, like I said in JD, the being and the surrendering that's literally it. That's literally it. We are on the chase to authenticity. Think about, people are starving for authenticity. If you go on Instagram and be authentic, every time I go on Instagram and just being like raw, people, it activates the grid. People are losing their mind. They're like, somebody's authentic.
Yeah. And
that's what people want. Like people just want, they're starving for authenticity. And I think the more that you clear your channel, get your channel real clear and start answering the calls, the more you answer the call, the more you go back to that well and put your bucket in it and be like, okay, I got to answer these calls. Your bucket will get bigger. Your bucket will get infinitely bigger. Your platform will get infinitely bigger. And all you're doing is being yourself. All we're doing right now is being ourselves. We're not doing anything else.
I'm barefoot right now.
I had to force myself to put on a shirt. I was like, okay, I'll put on a shirt.
Somebody promised me shirtless. I'm upset.
I told you it was about to be a shirtless episode in a second. I knew it was going to be a challenge for Elton to put on a shirt.
I was like, let me just put on a shirt just because we do whatever. But that is it. It is the surrender and the being. That's literally it. And when people realize that and start letting go of identity, it just comes to you. And there's no doubt that this platform that you guys have started is going to be on whatever network y'all want, or you're just going to make a network. A network going to manifest, and it's going to be like, okay. Y'all going to be like, I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, listen, off jump, like this season, I think was the revelation that every episode could have been its own series.
Yeah.
Every episode we've had, like the sisters that we brought on over the past month.
We have content that we need to create more space for it. Like we're wasting content.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, if our job at this point was to accept the call to put this out, and we have not yet been given what we're supposed to do next, we just got to keep putting this out and do it more until the next step comes. And I think that's the part. And we got to close because we're getting there.
Yeah.
Once you are given the call and you pick it up, understand that like the going back to the well part comes after you've surrendered to that call. It's not like, okay, got it. Okay, got it. No. Do one thing before you do another. It's a game of inches in that perspective, right? Even in Mario Brothers, like you talked about, you ain't going to level 7 just because you want to, unless you got the Nintendo cheat code. But in the normal aspect, right, you got to take that mushroom to get the cheat code.
I was about to say, it's still steps. You don't just get the cheat code. Like, you still got to go through steps. And you got to clock it right.
That's right. Because it's all timing based, right? Everything is about timing, whether it's Chronos time or Kairos time, meaning divine moment to divine moment. It's still an aspect of like the proper association of your surrender and like stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And that's the piece that I always know right now is like the more you surrender, the more it teaches you how to stay ready.
Once you embrace nothingness, you can be anything you want.
Nigga, what? Because it can't get no more unknown than nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think my final point too is like just looking at even us being here right now. Like, I don't think me and Courtney talked in like 10 years or something like that. It's been a while. Like, it's no beef or nothing. We just hadn't talked in like 10 years. But we're always communicating. We're always putting vibes and energy and codes in everything that we do. And so we started to witness each other's journey. We're like, Courtney on it.
Yep.
Elton on it. And so that's why I was like, Courtney, we need to talk. Literally. Out of nowhere. And I was like, no, we need to FaceTime. I need to see your face.
Yeah. and mind you, like Elton is on Bali time. So this was 7 a.m. It just happened to be a morning I was up that early to jump on FaceTime with this dude. And it was warm enough outside for me to sit outside. It was a really divine day, so to speak.
And it was perfect. And like just like everything else, it just continues to be more perfect the more you surrender and the more you be yourself. And that's just easy. Like this game that's the cheat code to life. Realizing that life begins the moment that you're the creator of it.
That's it. Well, good brother, we gotta let you go up out of here.
I was about to say, yeah. So before we kick you out into the green room, where can people find you and how can they support what you got going on?
Yeah.
So people can find me at my 3D page, Elton Anderson Jr. at Elton Anderson Jr. And then my 5D page is at Detroit Chopra.
As Detroit Chopra, ladies and gentlemen.
Everything. So I appreciate you so much, guys. This is so amazing. I'm happy to be on this first level of what this platform is going to be.
Actually, you're on season 2.
Oh, okay. Oh,
appropriate. You know, you upgrade.
Yeah.
Upgrade.
Yes, brothers. Well, thank you so much, and thank you to your beautiful and amazing audience and tribe and group. This has been great.
Ta-da. We appreciate you, brother. We will talk to you soon.
All right.
There will be more.
Whew. Well,
I mean, at this point, these ups, bro. Like, we ain't even really.
Steph Curry with the shot, boy. All right, y'all. So we're going to walk these dogs at the very end. As always, thank y'all for coming through to the Divine Masculine Activated. We always close it out with our gratitude, attitude, and latitude. So the gratitude first coming up. This time around, surrender. If you do nothing else with your life, surrender to your life. It'll get better and it'll get abundant as soon as you start to accept that. Surrender is our gratitude for today.
Exactly. So giving, like, just to put it in reference for the grammar Nazis out there, we're giving thanks for the act of surrender.
Ta-da.
All right. And following up with that, the attitude is surrender that shit. Here's why. Because you need to know when to hold them and you need to know when to say, it's above me now.
Take your hands up off it and give it back where it came from.
And that latitude.
This latitude. Never underestimate the power of your impact. As you can see today with the conversation we had with Elton, this man has not only been successful in finding himself, but he's been successful in all the stuff he thought was himself prior to. And so that's a key in all of these things that we talk about in terms of the game of life, is that success is simply just a choice. Whether you are your most abundant self or your seeking self, like success is the moment you choose for it to be or not to be. Like they say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
And either way, both are perfect.
That's it. There's nothing else divine other than the acceptance of the shit that's going on, y'all. Like, we're gonna be good here for a long time. That said, thank y'all for coming through. Next week we are back with another episode. I think it's just us next week, right?
Nah, it's just us, man. It's just
us.
Yeah.
So we gonna get jiggy and funky next week. It's like y'all haven't heard us do our thing in a while, so we're gonna have something good for you next week.
It's gonna be some bars. And with that being said, listen, it's always a pleasure, and we love to see y'all. So we took about an extra 5 minutes of y'all time.
We appreciate it.
And we greatly appreciate y'all for it. And with that being said, we'll catch you on next week's transmission. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah.
Blessings.